Hey everybody, I wanted to share something with you that is quite frankly nothing short of a miracle, but in order to share that miracle with you, I got to give you a little bit of the backstory. So a couple weeks ago, my husband was heading back to Florida to get our sheep and some of our other stuff and bring it up here. So we're finally 100% completely moved up to Oklahoma. But in that process, before he had to leave, I had to do laundry, and we have to go to a laundromat. So I said to him, why don't I leave the girls with you? That way they can spend a little extra time with you. Normally I bring one of our oldest daughters. We usually switch off each week, so that way the girls have like alone mommy time. So the girls ended up staying at home with dad. And then I decided that I would take that time to do a Bible study. So I did my Bible study while my laundry was going. And after that, I went on YouTube, and YouTube suggested a video from an artist that I had never heard of at the time. And it was this really beautiful song. It was the song The Blessing, which many of you know by Elevation Worship, but it was in Hebrew, which I thought was really, really cool. So I listened to the song, and just a few days later, I see that, well, I should say not a few days, just about 2 weeks later, once my husband was back from Florida, I see on a marquee that the artist was going to be performing nearby. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I saw it the day that he was supposed to be performing. So I immediately after that day, once I get back home, I tell my husband about it, and he had already made plans with some friends, but he's like, hey, you should absolutely go to this event and take the girls. And so I did. I bought tickets. I didn't see about the concert until the morning of, and then I bought tickets at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the concert was at 7 p.m. So it was a really fast process. But what we did is I took our 3 daughters and just had a really great time. They loved the music. It was absolutely beautiful. And after the concert, it was from 7 to 9. So, with my daughters being younger, they had pretty much had it. They were ready to go to bed. They loved it, but they were exhausted. So what we did is we kind of stood, there was an area where the kids could and adults could dance and praise and worship and everything in the back. And so I kind of stuck to the back with the kids. And once the music was over, we started to head out the door. We were literally the first ones out the door, but then my oldest daughter, of course, in normal kid fashion, said she had to go to the bathroom the minute we walked out the doors. So we walk back into the concert area, go to the bathroom, and by the time we get done, because I have every single one of my daughters go to the bathroom, by the time we get done, there was obviously more people outside at this point. So we walk out, and I see these women kind of standing off to the side over here, and this gentleman, older gentleman, standing kind of in front of the doors. He wasn't blocking the doors or anything like that, but there were plenty of people standing around outside, just kind of shooting the breeze, things like that. Didn't really think anything of it. I'm getting ready to walk my girls back to the car. Well, this woman, one of the women standing out to the side, flags me down. She's like, hey, he has clothes that he would like to bless somebody with. And the clothes he has are about the size of your youngest daughter. Is it okay if he blesses you with these clothes? And immediately in my head, I'm already seeing God in this, because I'm like, well, we should have already been gone at this point. We should have already been out and headed home. But my oldest had to use the restroom, so now we're coming back out. So I'm already seeing God in it. But also, being the kind of mom I am, I'm not about ready to go walk into a parking lot with my 3 children with strangers and it's getting dark. That just doesn't, scream safety. But we talked a little bit more, and whatever, maybe because I was already seeing God in it, I'm not sure, but whatever was typically in me that would have said, sure, bring the clothes to me, versus sure, I'll go with you, I went ahead and went with them. Quite frankly, I believe it was God giving me the reassurance that everything was going to be okay. So we walk out to this gentleman's truck, and he has 2 laundry baskets full of clothes about the size for my youngest daughter. And the women are kind of explaining to me about how basically what was happening. And so and he was too, making it very, very short. Basically, the father of his granddaughter got custody of his granddaughter, and basically told this gentleman, you'll never see your granddaughter again. I do not know the backstory in any way, shape, or form of any side of it other than what this gentleman told me. But the one thing I could see is that this man was in pain. He was hurting. And my dad died when I was 20, so my children have never met their biological grandfather on my side. So I could see and completely understand the pain that this man was going through, but in the opposite respect. And like I said, I don't know the sides of the story, but I could see how he was in pain, and I did feel very bad for him. So they asked me where my car was, because the gentleman was going to carry the clothes to my car for me. And I started looking for my car because I knew I had parked near him, but I thought I'd parked in the row behind him. And then my middle daughter says, "Mom, your car's right there." Y'all, I had parked one parking spot away from him, which at that point, all the women and the teenage girls that were with him that I had seen inside the concert, they were all crying, and praising God and everything else. It was one of those beautiful moments where I realized, had I trusted this man or not, I would have literally had to walk by his truck to get to my vehicle. And that was just like, whoa, what are the odds in this entire very large parking lot with hundreds of people here that I park right next to him? So we're loading up the vehicles loading up the clothes into my vehicle. I'm thanking him for his generosity and everything. I'm loading my kids in the car, and I'm giving him a hug, and I'm giving all the women a hug and thanking them. And I kind of explained to them too a little bit of background about this, how the artist that we went to see, I had not even heard of until 2 weeks ago. And that I didn't even know his concert was coming somewhat close to the area until that day. And then that I hadn't bought tickets until that afternoon, and then got there that evening. And so when I look at that and look at the progression of that, I can't see anything but God all over that. And I was just so amazed by it. So were the women and the teen girls and the gentlemen themselves. They were all very emotional over it. And I was still kind of in shock. Like I still yet wasn't fully processing like the enormity of it, I think, until afterwards. But it was an absolutely beautiful thing. He did bless my daughter with quite a few clothes. And there are some clothes that are too small for my daughter, but guess what? That means I'm going to bless somebody else with those clothes. And I told him that if none of them fit, or some of them don't fit, I will be blessing somebody else with those clothes. So it was just a really beautiful moment where God just really aligned things so beautifully and in advance, like weeks in advance. And it was a beautiful experience overall, even listening to the musicians sing and everything like that. But besides finding God and all of it, I do want to ask for prayers for this gentleman and for his family in the whole. I don't know what's going on between him and his daughter. I don't know what's going on between him and what would be his son-in-law if his daughter and the granddaughter's dad were married. I don't know any of the situation, but I ask that you all pray for them, pray for healing, pray for God to just really come into their lives and make a change in whoever he needs to make a change into. I'm sure there's things on all sides of the family that need to be worked on. Any pain that they're feeling, help them to heal. Any sadness or any addictions they may have or anything like that. Like I said, I don't really know the story, but anything that may be going on in their lives, please pray for this gentleman and his family, that they all can be reunited as one and whole, and that he will be able to spend time with his granddaughter and his daughter to come back into the picture and everything like that. So just y'all, besides the miracle that God did, please pray for this gentleman and for his family. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because that was too amazing not to share. All right, y'all. Hope you have a great day. Bye.